So today's story is a continuation of the story that I told yesterday. So if you're watching this video, go watch my other video first. It's just go to my channel. I don't know how to link things below. Like, I'm not smart when it comes to this kind of stuff. But it's the one right before this one, and it was titled "The Police Searched My House." So in that video, I was talking about my ex-boyfriend, D, and his cousin, who I called Cuz. So we're calling them D and Cuz. Basically, the story starts right where the other one left off. So, D and Cuz are hanging out again, like nothing ever happened. Like I said, I'm really starting where the last one left off. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, why they're hanging out, what's happened, I really suggest watching the other one first. But just for a little backstory, right now, these are bad guys, right? They're bad guys. They don't follow the law. They're both in a gang. Like, they were bad news, and I should have never been, around people like that, but I was. So, D had stolen a gun from our neighbor. Fucking stupid, right? And that was a huge part of my story, in my last story. And he gave the gun to Cuz to hold on to for a while. So that's really the only thing connecting this story from that one, kind of. You really should watch the other video, though. But anyways, I feel like I'm rambling. I probably am. Okay. So they're hanging out. Everything seems good. I had a vehicle. I had a car at the time. It was not in great shape because once I got with D, like, bad things just happen. When you get around bad news, you become part of the bad news. You know what I'm saying? Like, bad shit starts to happen to you when you're surrounded by bad shit. So it was my very first car. It was the car that I got, when I turned 16, blah, blah, blah. And he would just drive it without asking me. He was abusive, so it was an abusive relationship. So he would just drive it without... I'm getting cozy, sorry. He would use it without asking me, and normally I didn't really care. I was like, as long as you stay close and you're not doing something really stupid. You need to go out there and do illegal shit in my car. Like, if you need to go to the store or you need, basic shit. But he and Cuz were out driving around one morning. I was still asleep. I was sleeping in. It was probably about 11 a.m. And I get a phone call from Dee's mom. And she called me and she said, Dee's been shot. And I froze. Like, if I wouldn't have already been laying down, I would have, fell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, oh my God, is he okay? And she said, I don't know, I'm on my way to the hospital right now. Like, I'm gonna come pick you up. Because she was like, he was in your car when it happened. And I didn't even know my car was gone. I look out out into my garage, and lo and behold, my car's gone. So he had borrowed it, got shot in my car, and she goes, I'm gonna come pick you up. We're headed straight to the hospital. So she picked me up. We went to the hospital. And I went and we saw him, and he had been shot at point blank range in his stomach and in his arm. And so basically what had happened was, and this is through Dee's words, he told me what happened. He was driving around with Cuz, and they had both been smoking crack and getting high. And so a lot of times when people are on uppers and shit like that, like, you can get real paranoid and real weird, and that was happening to both of them. They were both getting real anxious and real weird, and, like, they're both just acting really strange towards each other and getting real suspicious of each other for no reason and just really paranoid. And so, D was driving. Obviously, he would never let somebody else drive my car, even though he would drive it without me knowing. He still wouldn't let somebody else drive it. So D was driving my car. Cuz was in the passenger seat, and Cuz pulled out that gun that D had given him to hold on to. And he's just, like, holding it on his lap. Like that, like, pulling it out is like a power move. Like, you're making me feel real weird. I'm getting paranoid. You're getting paranoid. Like, I'm the one with the gun, not you. And so D ended up saying, hey, I'm just going to pull over. I'm going to drop you off. Like, I'm not feeling good about this. You're not feeling good about this. We just need to part ways. And so D pulled up to Cuz's house, or wherever he was staying. I don't know if it was his house, but wherever he was staying. And right as Cuz was starting to get out of the car, he turned around and said, bitch, and then shot him twice. While he was still in the car, point blank range, right there, just shot him. And then ran off. And I'm pretty sure the gun was still in the car, because I think D told me that he tried to throw it to get rid of the evidence, because he was the one who stole it in the first place. It was the gun he had stolen. And he said he remembered just thinking, I need to drive home. Like, dude, you just got shot twice at point blank range. You don't need to be driving. But he tried to drive my car. He fucking crashed it into either a parked car or a pole. I don't remember. He didn't get very far, maybe a block, and he ended up crashing it. And then somebody else had called the police, you know, in the ambulance, and they, you know, rushed him to the hospital. He ended up saying that Cuz stole the gun, and he ended up not getting charged with stealing that gun in the first place. And then he ended up just putting it all on Cuz, and Cuz ended up going to, you know, prison for it. He probably did not do well in prison, because they were part of the same gang, and that's a big no-no. And they were also blood family. They were cousins. So that probably did not go over well for him. But after all of that happened, and I knew he was going to live, I had to go get my car out of impound, right? And I knew it was going to be bad, but nothing prepared me for what my car actually looked like. That was my car. That was my car. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that sounds selfish, like somebody just got shot, but like, I was really upset about my car once I knew he was going to live, right? At first I didn't give a fuck about my car, but once I knew he was okay, he was going to live, like, I went to the impound, and my car was completely smashed in where he had wrecked it for trying to drive. And when I actually looked in the car, the whole front driver's seat area was completely covered in blood. I mean, it looked like a murder scene. It almost was a murder scene. If the gunshot would have got him a little higher and been in the chest instead of the stomach, he probably wouldn't have lived. There was almost a murder that happened in my vehicle. A heinous crime regardless if, you know, he lived, but still horrible and disgusting. They ended up finding Cuz, putting him in prison, and then I ended up having to, like, dress D's wounds, and that was an ordeal. Like, I had to pack it with gauze, and, like, even the thought of it, like, it was probably about that deep of a wound inside his stomach, and about that big around the hole, and I had to stuff it with gauze every day, a couple times a day, and pull the gauze out and and clean it out. The one in his stomach was worse than the one in his arm. The one in his arm grazed him, so it was more of just, like, stitched up and whatever, but the hole in his stomach, they had to get the, you know, the bullet out, and then it was just like a hole. You couldn't stitch it because it was so deep. You had to just let it kind of heal. So, you know, every week I wouldn't have to pack as much gauze because it was slowly getting smaller and more shallow. But that was disgusting. That was fucked up. So, I don't know what the point is. The only reason I ended up, making this video is because in yesterday's video I said I was going to continue the story and say about, like, I said that a major thing happened, but I'll talk about it in the next video. This was that major thing. D got shot twice, point blank range, in my vehicle. And I'm glad I didn't witness it. I'm glad I wasn't there, because he would have shot me too. And that just goes to show, do not go around these type of people. Like, it just so happened to be that they took my car while I was asleep. If I would have been awake, I would have gone. I would have said, oh, no, let me come too. I know I would have. Back at, at the time when this happened, I would have, like, let me ride with you. I'm going with you. That's my car. Like, I'm awake. Like, I'm going. And with them being as paranoid as they were and acting as strange as they were, according to D, I would have been shot as well. He would have shot both of us, and I probably would have died. The likelihood of both of us surviving point-blank range gunshot wounds is very unlikely. I put myself in a lot of dangerous situations. I wasn't in that one. I mean, I was, because I had been around them for weeks now, but at that point, but in that moment, I wasn't there, and I'm grateful for that. That was a very stressful, fucked up situation. And I'm glad I am where I am now and that I'm not where I was then. I'm glad I'm in recovery and that my life is together in a way that I didn't think was possible then. I'm going to go ahead and go. Just remember that there's always hope that tomorrow will be a better day.